I apologize. As I was recording, after 23, 24 minutes, it stopped recording. So I just uploaded part 1, and now I'm going to continue to upload part 2. We were up to Rav Preda was asked why he lived long, and he said one of the things that he did was he never ate meat from an animal before the zroa, the front right leg, the lechayim, the cheeks, and the keva, and the stomach, had been set aside. He never ate meat before that was set aside for the Kohen. Gamar Rabbi Yitzchak, Gamar Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yitzchak said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Asr lechol mibhema shalehurmu matnoteha. It's prohibited to eat from an animal before you set aside matnoteha, the gifts for the Kohen, the front right leg, the cheeks and the stomach, zroa, lechayim, and keva. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, and Rabbi Yitzchak says, Kol ha'ochel mibhema shalehurmu matnoteha. Whoever does eat from an animal that those portions, those gifts have not been set aside, ki'ilu oichel tvolim. It's equivalent to eating tevel. Tevel is eating produce before truma and maaser is taken from it, and that also is prohibited. So it's usher, says Rabbi Yitzchak, to eat meat from an animal before those portions are set aside. But the halacha is not like Rabbi Yitzchak. You're not allowed to eat produce before you take truma and maaser, but you are allowed to eat meat from an animal before the zroa, l'chayim, and keva are set aside. Rabbi Preda wouldn't eat the meat before it's set aside, but that was an extra stringency that he took upon himself, and therefore he merited long life. One of the things that Rabbi Preda did was, he said, V'lo birachti lifnei kohen. I would not lead Birkat Hamazon if a kohen was present. L'meimra, do you mean to say, D'ma'al yutahi? This is a quality that a scholar like Rabbi Preda would always let a kohen do Birkat Hamazon first? V'amar Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan said, Kol talmid chacham shemevorach lefanov, afilu kohen gadol hamoretz. If there's a scholar who allows ignoramus to do Birkat Hamazon ahead of him, even if the ignoramus is a kohen gadol, oto talmid chacham, that scholar who allowed the ignoramus to go first, is chayv mita, is liable for a death penalty. Not from court, but God is upset with him. Shenemar, there's a pasuk in Mishlei, called misanai ohavu mavet. Those who hate me, those who hate my Torah, love death. Al tikre, don't read it misanai, don't read it those who hate me, elamasni I, those who cause me to be hated. What does that mean? If there's a scholar and he steps aside for an ignoramus, so he lowers the value of Torah, he shows that Torah is not valuable. Again, the Talmud Chacham should not be pushing himself ahead for personal reasons, but he should be looking to give honor to the Torah that he represents. And therefore, if he allows an ignoramus to do Birkat Hamazon first, he has denigrated, he's lowered the status of Torah, and there's a terrible punishment for that. So why would Rabbi Preda always allow a Kohen to do Birkat Hamazon first, if Rabbi Preda was a scholar? And the answer is, Ki kamar ihu b'shavin. Rabbi Preda was talking where he and the Kohen were equals. And Tosfot said it doesn't mean equal. It means Rabbi Preda was a scholar, and if the Kohen also was a knowledgeable person, a scholar, even if he wasn't as great as Rabbi Preda, but still, Rabbi Preda would let the Kohen go first. But if he was a total ignoramus, Rabbi Preda would not have let him go first. Shalu Talmid of Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana, the Talmid master of Nechunya ben Akana, b'meherachta yamim, what gave you the merit to live long? Amalem, he said, Niyamai lo niskabarati beklon chaveri. I never took honor with the shame of my friend. When my friend was embarrassed, I never felt honor. Now, of course, it goes without saying that when somebody else is having a bad time, that you're not standing there proudly smiling. But it means even if there's a competition between two, and one wins and one loses, the one who wins is careful not to demonstrate too much pride in his victory, because the guy who lost right now is feeling bad. So miyamai lo niskabadati, I never took honor b'klen chaveri, when my honor came at the loss of someone else. And that's a very delicate piece. When I went to bed, I never went to bed with a curse against my friend. I may have been angry during the day, but before I went to bed, I forgave everyone. In the Kriyat Shema Lamita, there's a Rabbanu Shalom Areini Moichel L'Chomi Shehichis V'Iknetaisi. I forgive anyone who angered me. And Vatran B'Mamoni Hayiti. And I always was easy with my money. And we'll explain. Loinis Kabarati B'Klon Chaveri. I never took honor with the shame of my friend. Kihadu Rav Huna. Remember Rav Huna? Rav Huna was the rabbi in the city, and he once declared a fast. Anyway, Rav Huna Dori Mora Akatfe. Rav Huna was once carrying a shovel, a spade, on his shoulder. Ata Rav Chana Bar Chani Loi. Remember Rav Chana Bar Chani Loi? He was the rabbi. He was the rabbi of the village near the city of Rav Huna. In any case, Rav Chana Bar Chani Loi came by, V'Kadori Minei, and he wanted to pick up the shovel from Rav Huna's shoulder and carry it himself. Amar Le, Rav Huna said, Iregilat dedorit b'matich dare. If you're used to carrying a shovel in your town, it's the norm for you, then you can carry the shovel. It wouldn't be a denigration of your status. V'ilo, but if normally you don't carry shovels where you are, it yakuri ana, that I should take honor, bezilusa didach, when at the same time you're downgrading yourself, you're dishonoring yourself, lo nicholi, I don't want. I'm not going to take honor if at that time it's going to cause you dishonor. So on one hand, recently we learned that Rav Huna told Rav Chana Bar Chani Loi to leave the money of tzedakah in Rav Huna's city, because Rav Huna was the chief rabbi and he's the one who's supporting not only his own city but Rav Chana Bar Chani Loi's village as well. That's the correct thing to do with the tzedakah money. But on the other hand, that Rav Chana Bar Chani Loi should take the shovel off Rav Huna's shoulder when now it's going to be disrespectful to Rav Chana Bar Chani Loi, Rav Huna said no way. V'loi olsa al mitasi killas chaveri, and I never went to bed with a curse against my friend. Ki hodu Marzutra, as Marzutra said, ki have a solik lepurye, before he went to bed, Omar, he said, Shari lei lecholman de tzaaron, I forgive anyone who pained me, who harmed me. Vatran b'mamoni hayiti, when he said, I used to be a little bit easier with my money, the Omar Mar said, Eov vatran b'mamoni hava, Eov was easier with his money, and shayamaniach pruta lechanveni mimamone, that he used to leave a pruta to the storekeeper from his money. The Gemara Bava Basra explains, it's an interesting point, let's say it's 2 almonds for a penny, and the storekeeper gave him 1. So he didn't haggle, he gave him the penny. He wasn't so picky and particular. Shal Rabbi Akiva's Rabbi Nechunya Hagadol. Rabbi Akiva asked Rabbi Nechunya Hagadol, "V'meherachta yamin, what merit did you have to live long?" That's what Rabbi Akiva asked Rabbi Nechunya Hagadol. Atu gavaze v'kamachulei. The servants of Rabbi Nechunya came and started to hit Rabbi Akiva, because it sounded like that Rabbi Akiva asked Rabbi Nechunya Hagadol, "How come you lived so long?" As if, why are you living so long? Solik v'yosef aresha dedikla. Rabbi Akiva climbed up and sat on the top of a palm tree to escape from the servants of Rabbi Nechunya. Amar Le, and when he was up there on the tree, he calls down to Rabbi Nechunya, Rebbe, in the parsha of the Korban Talmud, it says, Et ha-keves echad tase baboker. So im nemer keves, if it says keves, lama nemer echad, keves is singular, so why does it have to say the word echad? Amar Luhu, Sir Rabbi Nechunya said to his servants, Hey, Tzurva midrabananhu, that man up on the tree, that's a scholar, he's asking me questions on Torah. Shivku, let him come down, he's okay. Amar Le, he said, the reason why it says Echad is miyuchad sheba edro. In the flock, you have to take the best one to use for the korban. Now, besides for the other question, as to why Rabbi Nechunya lived long, Amar Lo, he said, Miyamai lo kibalti matanot. I was careful not to receive gifts, not to take gifts. V'lo marati al midotai. I never stood on my midotai. I don't know how to translate that. When somebody hurt me, I didn't take a position to hurt him back, or I never. If somebody harmed me or offended me, I never stood my ground. I always stepped back. And vatram b'mamoni hayiti. And as we said, I was easier with my money. Like Kibalti matanat, I didn't take gifts. Ki hader Reb Lazar, ki have mishadru le matanas mibein asiya. When they would send him gifts from the Nasi's house, la v'shokol, he wouldn't take. Ki have mezamni le, even when they invited him to eat, la v'azal, he wouldn't go. Amar lo, he said, lo nicha l'chu da'achya, don't you want me to live? Nechtiv, it's written, sonei matanat yichya, one who hates gifts will live longer. Hard to understand what's the problem of taking a gift, but in fact, we had a Gemara in Brachos that there were two types of people. There was Elisha and Shmuel. Elisha accepted gifts. Elisha accepted gifts. The Shunamis made him a room and she hosted him always, and Elisha accepted it graciously. Shmuel, on the other hand, wherever he went, would always take all his stuff with him. He didn't want anything from anybody. And both are considered valid behaviors. The one who doesn't take the gifts is not considered arrogant, and the one that takes the gifts is not considered greedy, as long as each one is doing it with a good purpose and with a straight mind. But nevertheless, sometimes when you start accepting gifts from people, you become beholden to them, and then when you become beholden to them, they apply pressure on you and they apply stress on you, and all of a sudden you're living a stressful life because you owe everything to everybody. It's always good to feel appreciation, but it's always bad to feel enslaved. Reb Zeira kava mishadrele bein asiya. Reb Zeira, when they would send him gifts from the Nasi's house, la v'shokol, he wouldn't take. Ki hava mezamni le'ozal, but when they invited him to come to eat, he would go. Amar, he said, when they invite me to eat, they're not doing me a favor. It yakuri demit yakri bi. They're being honored with my presence. So therefore, when I go, I'm not a recipient, I'm actually a giver. V'lo yamadati al midaisai. And another thing that Reb Nechunya ben Hakana said was, I never stood my ground, meaning if somebody offended me, I did not take care to pay back, to take revenge. Because Dama Rava says, Kol ha'mavra al midaisav, whoever is willing to overlook somebody who harmed him, Mavirin mimenu kol pshav, Hashem takes away his sins from him. Hashem is not so particular to punish him for his sins, because he's not so particular to punish others when they've sinned against him. Shenemar, as it says, Nosei avon v'over al pesha. God will carry the sin and forego the sins. Lemi nosei avon, to whom does Hashem forgive sins? Lemi she'over al pesha, to somebody who's willing to pass over somebody else who has sinned against him. I'm going to pause here. First of all, I'm going to English. The Gemara was not hard, but I'm going to do it word for word. So if you want to check your vocabulary, I'm going to go, not too quickly, but I'm going to go quickly. So hold on tight. We're up to the first of the narrow lines on Chav Zayin Amud Bet. The Chachamim say you can sell it, a permanent sale, but etc. Rav Yudah said in the name of Shmuel, a person is allowed to urinate within 4 amot of where he prayed. Rav Yosef said, what is he, that's Rav Yehuda, mashmalan, letting us hear? We learned in the Mishnah, Rav Yehuda says you can sell a Beit Knesset to be used as a courtyard, it's just square footage, and the buyer, Masha Yirtza, whatever he wants, can do with it. Even the Rabbanan who prohibited to use it as a bathroom, but Lo Ka'amri, they didn't say that, rather only regarding a Beit Knesset, which was a permanent place of Kedusha. But 4 amot within a place where somebody prayed in the street, which is not permanent Kedusha, there shouldn't be a problem to urinate within 4 amot of where you prayed. So therefore, it's obvious that if a person prayed, he can urinate in the same place. There was somebody who taught Braitot in front of Rav Nachman, and he said whoever prays needs to distance himself 4 amot before he urinates, and whoever urinates needs to distance himself 4 amot before he prays. So Rav Nachman told the person who was teaching Braitot, Bishlama, it's well understood, somebody who urinates marchik needs to distance himself 4 amot in order to pray. That's a Mishnah in Brachot Daf Chav Bet. How far must one distance himself from urine and from waste? 4 amot. From waste, it's a biblical obligation, and from urine it's a rabbinic obligation. But one who prayed needs to distance himself 4 amot before he urinates. Why do you need to do that? If so, if every place that you pray is going to be sanctified, kadashtinhu, you have sanctified all the alleyways in Nahardot. So Rav Nachman told the person who taught Braitot that we're not talking about distance, we're talking about Tanei, you should teach Yishhe, you should wait. After you've urinated, wait the time it takes to go 4 amot before you pray. After you've prayed, wait the time it takes to go 4 amot before you urinate. Again, after you urinated, wait the time it takes to go 4 amot before you pray. After you prayed, wait the time it takes to go 4 amot before you urinate. The Gemara says, Bishlam, it's well understood, one who urinated should wait the time it takes to go 4 amot before he prays, because there may be droplets that you're waiting for them to evaporate. But one who prays, why should he wait the time it takes to go 4 amot? Why does he need to wait? After he prayed, why does he need to wait the time it takes to go 4 amot before he urinates? Rav Ashi says because the time it takes to go 4 amot, his prayer is still sdura b'fiv, is still like fluent in his mouth, and his lips are still moving. Even though he's not saying anything, but if there's even a nervous moment in his lips and his mind is still on prayer, one should wait until that's over before he urinates. The Talmud Master of Zakkai, B'mei arachta yamim, why did you live long? He said, I never urinated within 4 cubit, within 4 amot of where I prayed, which is something beyond the line of the law. I never called my friend by a nickname. Kiniti is to call a nickname. And I never missed making kiddush on wine. I had an old mother, and one time she sold kippah, she sold a kerchief on her head, and with the money she bought me wine for kiddush. We learned in a Braita that when his mother died, she left him 300 barrels of wine, and when Rav Zakkai died, he left his sons 3,000 garbeyayin barrels of wine. Rav Huna was tied with a plant as a belt, and he stood in front of Rav. Rav asked, "My hi, what's this all about?" He said, "I didn't have kiddush, umashkante lehem yonai. I gave away my belt as collateral, and I got money, and I bought with it kiddush." So Rav says, "Hey Rava, it should be God's will that you should titum b'shiroi, be covered in silks." Ki ikalal, when Rabba, the son of Rav Huna, got married, so Rav Huna Inish Gutza was a short man. He was gana apuri, he was lying on a bed. The daughters and Kalote, his daughters-in-law came, Sholchan, they removed and threw their coats, Manayu, alay on him. They didn't notice him lying on the bed. And he was covered with shiroi, with silks. Rav heard what happened to Rav Huna, and he was upset. He said to Rav Huna, "My Tama, what's the reason you didn't say to me when I blessed you? You should have said, V'chein lamar, same to you." And as I explained, he didn't want to be covered with coats. He thought that if the blessing would come true, the way it would come true to him might have been in a way of wealth. Talmid Master Blazer ben Shamua, how did you live long? And he said, I never made a kapandria, I never took a shortcut through a Beit Knesset, and lo pasati, I never walked over the heads of the holy Jews. The Jews are holy people, I never pushed them aside to get to my place, and I never did Birchot Kanim without a bracha, and it was obvious that he made a point of never doing Birchot Kanim without a bracha. The Talmid Master prayed, "Why did you live long?" He said, "Nobody came before me to Beit Midrash. I never did Birkat Hamazon when a Kohen was around. I never led Birkat Hamazon, and I never ate meat from an animal that the Zroa, L'chayayim, and Keva, the Matnotel, the front right leg and the cheeks and the stomach, had not been taken." Rabbi Yitzchak said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, it's prohibited to eat from an animal that those portions have not been separated. Rabbi Yitzchak said if you eat from a behema shalahurma matnoteha, that those portions have not been separated, it's like eating tevel. Tevel is eating produce that Truma and Maser was not taken from. But the halacha is not like that. The halacha is you're not allowed to eat produce that Truma and Maser wasn't taken from, but it's not prohibited to eat meat if the Zeroa, L'chayayim, and Keva have not been set aside. But Rabbi Preda did beyond the letter of the law. He never benched when a Kohen was around. Do you mean to say that's a quality, that he always let the Kohen go first? Rabbi Yochanan said any Talmud Chacham that allows an Amoritz, even if he's a Kohen Gadol, to bench, to do Birkat Hamazon ahead of him, that Talmud Chacham is Chayiv Mita, is liable for the death penalty. As it says, those who hate me and hate my Torah love death. Don't read it, those who hate me, but those who are masni'ai, who cause me to be hated. They downgrade the value of Torah by letting an Amoritz go ahead of them. So why would Rabbi Preda let a Kohen go ahead of him? Ki kamar ihu, when Rabbi Preda said he always let the Kohen go first, B'shavin, when they were equal, the Kohen was also a scholar. The Talmud master Rabbi Nechunya ben Akana, what gave you long life? And he said, I never honored myself when my friend was being dishonored, and on my bed, I never took with me a curse against my friend, and I was always easy with my money. I never took honor with the shame of my friend, as Rav Huna Dori Mora was carrying a shovel, a katfe on his shoulder. Rav Chana bar Chaniloi came and wanted to take the shovel from Rav Huna, and Rav Huna said to him, Regilat, if you have a custom that you carry it b'motech in your town, then Dori, then carry it. But Ilo, if you don't normally carry it in your town, that I should take honor with your shame, I'm not willing to do that. And on my bed there never came a curse against my friend, as Marzutra, ki have a solik lepurye, when he went to bed, Amar, he said, Shori lei l'chaman d'tzara, I forgive anyone who offended me. And Vatran b'mamoni hayiti, I was easy with my money. Mar once said Eov was easy with his money, that he used to leave an extra penny for the storekeeper from his money. He wasn't a penny pincher. Rabbi Akiva asked Rabbi Nechunya Haggada, why did you live so long? Atu Gavazi, the servants came, v'kamochule, and hit Rabbi Akiva, because it looked like he was not happy that Rabbi Nechunya Haggada lived long. So Solik, he climbed up, and Yativ sat on the top of a palm tree. And he called down and he said to Rabbi Nechunya, if it says keves, a lamb, you're supposed to bring one lamb every morning, why does it say echad? Keves is singular, so echad is redundant. So Rabbi Nechunya said, hey, he's a tzur v'mir rabbanan, he's a young scholar, let him go. And then he answered, and the reason it says echad is not one, but echad means miyuchad sheba'edro, it has to be the best of the flock. As far as why I lived long, he says, miyamai, in all my days I never took gifts, v'lo amadati al midotai, I never made a principle to always get somebody back, and I was always easy with my money. I never took gifts, as Reb Lazar said, as Reb Lazar behaved, when they sent him gifts, mi bein Nasiya from the Nasi's house, he never took it, and when they invited him to eat, he wouldn't take. He said to them, Lo nicha l'chud achya, you don't want me to live? It says, Soni matanat yichya, whoever dislikes gifts will live longer. Reb Zeira, when they would send him presents from the Nasi's house, he wouldn't take. But Kiava Mazamnile, when they invited him, he would go. He said, It yakuri dem it yakru bi. They're taking honor with my presence. I'm not a recipient when I go. I'm a giver. V'lo madati al midotai. I didn't stand on principle to punish somebody back if they somehow offended me. As Rava said, whoever is willing to forego al midotav, on his position, so God will be mavir and mimenu kol pshav. God will take away his sins. God won't be so picky to punish him for everything that he did wrong. As it says, Nose Avan v'over al pesha. What does that mean? Lemi Nose Avan. Who will Hashem forgive sins? Somebody that's over al pesha. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Barditcher says, Hashem tzilcha, Hashem is your shadow. Shadow is a reflection of you. You can create the relationship that God will have with you. If you're somebody who does not give back and take revenge for every little thing that was done against you, then God sees that that's the way you behave. So that's the way God behaves towards you as well. Hashem is your shadow. You create the channel between you and God, and the channel you create is the way God behaves towards you. And God says, a person is only human. Sometimes he does something wrong, not so big. Let it go. He often lets it go as well. I'm now going to go to Haggada Shel Pesach, but I think it's quite late, so I'm going to do just a little bit. In the Haggada Shel Pesach, after Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said that Ben Zoma proved from a pasuk that you're supposed to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim every morning and every evening, it says Baruch Hamokaim Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenasan Torah Lama Yisrael Baruch Hu. Blessed is Hashem, blessed is He, blessed is the one who gave Torah to the Jewish people, blessed is He. In the Haggada, The Haggada is about to show us where the Torah teaches us in 4 different places that we should educate our children about the Exodus, about Yetzias Mitzrayim. We should teach it to the Chacham, to the Rasha, to the Talmud, the Sheni, the Elishal. But since we're about to quote psukim, so before we read some Torah, it's as if we would be saying Birkat HaTorah, where we say a bracha before we get an aliyah. Because symbolically we're going to quote 4 psukim, or we're going to, so therefore we have 4 baruchs. Baruch HaMokam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shanasan Torah Lam Yisrael, Baruch Hu. 4 baruchs. We've talked about this in class, that the word makom means God, because God is in every makom, in every place. Just to repeat something that I've taught you, we know God's name is Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, which stands for Haya, Hova, V'yiyah. God was, God is, and God will be. In the beginning of creation, time began, and at the end of creation, time will end. But God is beyond time. God is infinite. So therefore, His name is Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, was, is, and will be, before time began and after time will end. The letters Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, if you multiply Yud, which is 10, by 10, you get 100. If you multiply the Hey, which is 5 by 5, you get 25. If you multiply the Vav, which is 6 by 6, you get 36. And if you multiply the Hey by Hey, you get 25. If you add that up, you get 186. 186 is the same gematria, the same as Mokom. Mem is 40, Kuf is 100, Vav is 6, and Mem is 40. Total is 186. The reason why we did that is because area is, let's say if you have a square, let's say it's 5 feet by 5 feet, so the square area is 5 by 5 is 25. Which means that in Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, as we multiplied each, so to speak, side by itself, we got all area, which symbolizes that God is beyond all area. God is everywhere and beyond everywhere, because the name Yud, K, Yud, Hey, and a Vav and a Hey means that God is beyond time and beyond all space. Keneged Arba Banim Dibra Torah. The Torah spoke corresponding to 4 sons. Echad Chacham, Echad Rasha, Echad Tam, Echad Sheni de Elishol. The translation does not mean one is a Chacham, one is a Rasha. I know how to count. We just had that in the Gemara, that it says Keves Echad. If it's Keves, it's 1. Evidently, Echad is superfluous. But in Mishnah, Echad means whether. Echad Zeh, Echad Zeh means whether this and whether this. The Torah spoke to 4 sons, whether the son is a Chacham, who really wants to know answers, or whether the son is a Rasha, who's hostile and angry, and somehow you have to educate him too. And the Echad Tam, whether he's a simpleton, and you have to educate him too, but differently than you would educate the Chacham. And the Echad Sheni de Elishol, if a child is so small that he doesn't even know how to ask questions, you have to find a way how to attract his attention and educate him as well. So regardless of the child that a man may have, he has to educate all 4 of them. But of course, there's a difference in how you educate the Chacham and how you educate the Rasha, how you educate the Tam, and how you educate the Sheni de Elishol. So tomorrow, God willing, I will explain the questions that 3 of them ask and the 4th one who doesn't ask, and what the Torah says you should answer each and every one of them, but why in the Haggada we have different answers than what it says in the Torah, and what that means. But it's very important that if our existence as Jewish people comes from the transmission of Yetzias Mitzrayim, because that's where we met God and that's where we realized and understood God, it's very important that a man should teach his children, regardless of what kind of child he has, whether it's a Chacham or a Rasha or a Tam or an Eni de Elishol. I wish you all well. I hope you boys are being successful. I've been encouraging each and every one of you to reach out to someone else and take a chavrusa for 15 minutes. The fact that there's so many reasons why I say it, I can't explain them all. The fact that you not only reach out to someone else, but you reach out to someone else and accomplish something together, that in itself can give you a very powerful kick to your day. It won't be me, the Rebbe, teaching you, so to speak, hey, that's my job, but rather it'll be a peer who encourages a peer. Harbe lamadati mirabaisai, I learned a lot from my Rebbe, but v'yoter, even more, mechaverai, from my friends. You boys can learn much more from each other than you can learn from me. But you have to reach out and learn with each other, even a little bit. Ta'amuru, taste the learning together, enjoy the learning together, and make it a lifelong experience. Ruchim Tiyu, stay healthy, have a good day.